Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to talk about the chapter 6 this week. Chapter 6, the basic topic of chapter 6 is uh, grids, gads, and aligning objects. Now, last chapter we covered tables and tabs, and all of those stuff, tables and tabs, grids, gads, alignment. Those are kind of like tedious things, but you have to know it. If you do not know those stuff, you can't say you are very good in using InDesign. Once you learn how to use those stuff, tables, tabs, grids, guides, and how to align up the small objects within the InDesign, then you can say, well, I'm really good at it, using InDesign to design some stuff. So those things are still interesting, but you may find a little bit more technical and tedious, but you have to know it. It's very important in design. So the topic subject subtopics of this chapter, basically we're going to talk about several things. First, we're going to talk about bullet design and regular design, and then we're going to talk about how to use grids and guides to design some newsletters. Um, then we're going to talk about how to create some objects and align those objects within the project. Those are the techniques that you will use very often when you try to create a newsletter. We are also going to talk about one specific technique that is very useful in creating logos, which is called paste into. When we get there, you will see it's very useful to use the paste into technique to create some logos. Now, first of all, let's talk about the bleed and regular pages. What is a bleed page? Bleed page, you can look at your textbook, but I can also on the screen I showed this example of a bleed design. This is the bleed design. Basically, a bleed design is that the photos or the background goes into the edge of all the four margins. So you see the graph goes to here, it goes to here, it goes to here. When you design it, you make it larger, and when you print it, you print it larger. Once you print it out, you cut it from here. And on this edge, you cut it from here. On this edge, you cut it from here. And then this will be how the document looks like. That's a blade. If you look at the textbook, the cover page is a blade design, right? The background goes to all edges. This page, the second page, is bleed on this side, but it's not a bleed. Well, you can also see it's bleed here because it also goes to this edge. It's bleed here a little bit, but it's not a bleed on this side. And if you look at this is the same thing, but if you look at this page is not a bleed at all. So this is a regular design page. Look at the page, you can see this is the bleed, partial bleed on this side, but this is not a bleed page at all. But those two pages, none of them are bleed, as you can see from here. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. What do you think will be the difference between a bleed page and a regular page? What do you feel? How do you feel differently between a bleed page and a regular page?
Like you put more information on the regular page, and you don't have like a picture like in the way. You put more information in it.
Right. Good description. How do you feel differently? When you look at a bleed page and a regular page, how do you feel differently?
Like you're not seeing the whole thing. Like you cut it on certain things, so you don't see them all the information.
Right. You don't see the whole things in the bleed page. but it doesn't really matter, right? You can still see the major themes. Any other thoughts on the different designs? Why people use bleed design sometimes? Why it's more interesting? More visually appealing. Yeah. More what? More color, not necessarily. Sometimes you feel like this one. It's just three colors, not really more color. But if you look at the bleed design and regular design give you a regular sense, right? It's a normal design. You see it everywhere. It's serious. It's common. Uh, you will not pay extra attention to it. But bleed design, as John, right? John said, it's more visually appealing. Why is more visually appealing? It gives you a sense of being more bold, more modernized, um, some kind of a, more cool, right? Give you that kind of sense. Go ahead. It's different, right? You do not see it normally, right? It's kind of like that. Who normally you think about the business card? Most of us, our business card use regular design, which means we are regular professionals. Some of the professionals tend to use bleed design. If you look at the name card, we're going to talk about this later on. But who will use the bleed design in their name card? Those creatives, artists. Those people want others to think they are cool, they are modernized, they are bold. They tend to use bleed design in their business card. So that's what kind of special feeling bleed design will bring to you. When you see a bleed design, you will see, wow, this is a modern thing. This is cool. This is visually appealing. This is different. But you do not use it a lot, right? Since it's visually appealing, so you just use it selectively. You do not use it a lot. That's the difference between a bleed and a regular design. How do we make a bleed design in design? As you can see, as we've mentioned here, the basic theory here is that you just design a larger document and then make the background into OHs and then print it out in a larger piece of paper and then cut off the extra part. That's how you make a design a bleed document and print it out. So let's launch our InDesign, see how we can design a bleed document in InDesign. Okay, now when you open the InDesign, you can create a new document. Simply click a document, or if you want to use shortcut key again, you can press Command N. Here, again, we're going to check off facing page because we don't need it right now. We're going to talk about what facing page is later on. But now we're going to check off that. Intent, we can use print if you want. And then margins, all the other things, we leave it as default. Now here, look at it here. There's a button here called More Options. We're going to check that on More Options. When you click that, More Options, you will see there's an area here allow you to set up the bleed area as well as the slug area. So let's talk about the bleed first. The bleed, and you know what icon means here, right? What the link icon means here. You already understand what the link icon here does. You know that, right? It will keep all the cells equal. So you can leave that linked, and then let's put a, normally you can put 0.125 inch. Okay, that's kind of like this 9 point or something like that. And then the slug, for the slug, the slug normally you just choose one set. You can put it on the top, or you can put it on the bottom. Let's choose it on the bottom here. We're gonna set a. Let's set one pica. And hit OK. Now this will be the document. I do not see my, hold on, I do not see my slug here. Let me redo it. So it's 0.125 inch. Here on the bottom, let's say 1 inch. That might be enough. Say OK. Okay, now here is a slug area. Let's talk about the blade first. When you look at this document, you will see it's different from the regular document when we created, right? Did you notice the difference here? In a regular document, you have this purple lines. What are those purple lines? Anybody know what are those purple lines here? Those are the document margins, right? It's the, which means the document are not supposed to go beyond those lines. Here is the page edges, right? The black line are the page edges. But what's this red line here? This is the bleed line. Normally, when you create a normal document, you will not see those red lines here. But here, since we create a bleed page, you will see this red line here. That means when you try to place a photo, you want to extend it to the red line and then print it out, and then you can cut this part off, make it a bleed. So let's say if we place a document, a photo, that's not a good photo. Let's choose a more beautiful photo. Enlarge it. Use Shift Option Command E to make the photo fit the frame. And then let's say we're going to add a background. Yes, I just use Command D, place it. Okay, now you can see that the background of this photo actually goes from this red line to this red line to this red line. So it goes bleed on three sides. When you print it out, the document, when you print it out, is supposed to be larger than a regular document. And then you need to cut this part off, cut this part off, and then cut this part off. And that, in that case, it will be a bleed document. That's how you create a bleed document. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Now you can see we also have a slug here. The slug is this area. Why we need a slug area? Anybody can make a guess why we need a slug area? Anyone want to make a guess? Looks like you're still working on the background. All right. Okay. Anyone is ready? Want to talk about this slug area? Let me take a look at where you are right now. You can rescale it, make it smaller. But when you rescale it, you want to press shift so that it will be rescaled proportionately. Yeah, it will be great. Blade actually, it's blade. Yeah, shape portrait blade. Or you can use the a shape of shape can I make it center? In this case, if you want to give it back, you give it a color back. Yeah, because you know it's not really it's fully yes. I happen to have one on my computer. You can it is really small. It doesn't matter. It's the name. Enlarge it. Again, shape. That'll be your enlarge it. That's shape. Maybe it's that's why it is. Yeah, just get the sense, get the idea. Yeah, yours is clearly related, but people can see. In this case, that would be that they call it that. This yes, yes, it's fine. You know it is. But just reading out, people can see. That's the picture. That's okay. Okay, now look at it here again. I want you guys to look at this slug area from here to here. Why do we use the slug area? Anyone have any idea why we need a slug area? Now, if you work in a creative bounty, we've discussed in the advertising class. Let's say you are the creatives. Will you have the final say about the project? Whatever you created, it will be it? No. You create it, you submit it to your boss will review it. Your boss then will give it to the client will review it. In the process, someone may want to revise it. So the slug area is actually a note area. You create a slug area, and then you can create a text box here, and see creator, put your name, and then someone else can create another text box here. Let's say we can use this rectangle box, and then you can create another box here, put a supervisor, and then put it in slug area. And you can create the third box, put clients, put your name there. Sometimes if someone has a note or comment, they can simply put it in a slug area. So when the file is returned, you can see it. When the project is done, when you print it, or when you exported your project, let's say you're going to export it. Now here you have some choice. Export it into print, let's say. You will have some choice here. When you export it, you will see this tab. When you click marks and the blades, and here if you choose use document blade setting, then everything outside of the page edge, but within the blade grid will be printed out. If you look at it here, everything within this red line and this black line will be printed out. It will not be printed out if you do not check here. Okay, so if you create a blade design, you have to check this box to make sure it's printed out. Here it's called include slug area. When you print it, when you export it, if you check include slug area, then the slug content in the slug area will be exported. If you do not check it, then it will not be exported. Does that make sense to you? When you print it, it will not be printed out. So normally in the advertising agency, people will create a slug area so that they can put notes over there. But when they print it out, they will not check this cell. So the content in the slug area will not be printed out. But when you create those projects, you can see it. Here's my requirement for you. Later on, you need to put your name on your project in the slug area. Okay? Don't put your name in any other place. Just create a slug area and put it in the slug area. And if you do not do that, there may be 2 points associated, 2-point deduction associated with that. So keep that in mind. Whenever you create a project, if you are using a template, then you can find a place to put it on the template, because the template may not have a slug. But if you are creating a project from scratch, put your name in the slug area, and when you export it, make sure you check this cell so that it will be exported. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about today: blade and slug area. The computer screen is too small that I don't know how to close this thing right now.
Do you want us to export it now or not?
No, you don't need to export it right now. I just want to close it, but I don't know how to. This screen looks weird for me. Huh? Where's cancel?
You make the screens, that little window smaller, you can see it at the bottom.
I didn't see the cancel. That's the problem. I can't really click to it. That's
do you-
export. Okay, maybe just hit export. Yeah.
Well, then cancels it right next to it right here.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you. Good. Thanks. Okay. Now we're going to talk about how to create guidelines and grids. Many times, particularly when you create a newsletter, you will need to use guidelines. Try to put things together. For example, let's say we're going to create 3 box here. Let me give it a color of, let's say, red. And I don't need this box. And then let's copy it. You simply select it, press Option, drag it, copy 1, drag it, copy 2. Now I want to put those 3 boxes here in one line. How do you do it? And then in CS6, it will automatically generate some GADs, but sometimes it will not generate the GADs. So if you want to put it in one line, you need to generate a GAD yourself. How do you generate a GAD in InDesign? You put your cursor here onto the ruler and then drag it. You will drag a GAD here, and then you can move the box. Make sure the box will be in the same line. And that's how you generate a horizontal. You just put your cursor here onto the ruler and then drag it. You will have a GAD. Now, one interesting thing is, look at here. One interesting thing is, if you put your cursor here or here and drag it, you will have a GAD like this. The GAD will go through the document and extend to, extend to the edge of the overall pasteboard. But if you put your cursor here, between this line and this line, if you put a cursor here, and then you drag a GAD, notice that the GAD will be only limited within the document. Did you see the difference here? If you put a cursor here or here, drag a GAD, the GAD will be like this. It will go beyond this document. But if you put your cursor here within the boundary of this document and then you drag it, and then the GAD itself will also be within the document. And that's how you generate a horizontal GAD. If you want to generate a vertical GAD, you put your cursor here, drag it. Again, notice that this vertical GAD will only goes within the document. If you want to have a vertical GAD that's longer than the document, you put your cursor here and then drag it. In that case, you will have a GAD that go beyond the document. Depends on what kind of guideline you want to have. Okay? And when you are working on the guidelines, sometimes you need to delete a guideline. How do you delete a guideline? You select it first. How do you tell which guideline is selected, which one is not? Now, if you look at here, this document, I have 4 guidelines. Can you tell me which one is selected? The blue one is selected. Because its color is different from the other 3. The other 3 guidelines are green one. So if I hit the delete key, the blue one that is selected will be deleted. And now I'm selecting this one. If you hit the delete key, this GAD will be gone. And that's how you create a guideline and when you try to align up stuff. In addition to guidelines, InDesign will also help you, allow you to create columns. And many of you had a problem before about how to create columns. How do we create columns in InDesign? How do you create columns in InDesign? There are at least 2 ways to do it. one way to do it is that when you create a document, let's say you create a new document, right? Anytime when you create a project, this will be the first tab that you can see. When you create a document, here you can choose how many columns you want to create. If you put a 3 here, then you will have 3 columns, right? So that's the one way you can use to create a column. If you create a column in that way, and then the column will apply to the whole document, no matter how many pages you have in that document. For instance, if we create a document that has 10 pages, we have 10 pages here. If you click OK, this is the new document that I created. As you can see, it has 10 pages, and every page has 3 columns. Okay, that's the first way to do it. You create a column when you create a new document. The second way to do it is you create a document and then you go to layout, margins and columns. And here you can see the columns are 3. And if you say I want to just have 2 columns, now here you can see you change it into 2 columns. If you click OK, you will see that the first page now has 2 columns. But the rest pages, they still have 3 columns. So when you create a column, when you create a document, that applies to every page of the document. But once you create a document, you use a layout, margins, and the columns to change the column. You can only change 1 page. Does it make sense to you? Okay. Those are the 2 ways you can create a column. Those are called a document column. Document column, colors are purple. So when you see the columns, the get for the columns, when they have a purple color, you know that's a document column. Let me close this document because I don't need it right now. Back to the first page. And now you can, the first page, we only have 1 column, right? The first document, we only have 1 column. Let's change it into 3 columns right now. Work on your computer. Since you're only changing 1 page, you can go to layout, margins, and columns. Give it 3 here. Okay. Now you can see we have 3 columns. Okay. Now the columns are evenly distributed. But if you have experience of creating a newsletter, or you have experience of working on a newspaper, you know that sometimes the columns will not be evenly distributed. You want to have a narrow column, or sometimes you want to make a column wider than others. So you want to move the position of the column gap. How do you do that? Go to let's see, views. Go to view, go to grids and guides, and right now lock column guides are checked. Uncheck it. Okay, uncheck this. And then see, you can move this column guides, make the make the first column narrower, and then move this one, make the second and third one distributed evenly. Did you figure out how to do it? You go to view, grids and guides, and check lock column guides first. And then you can move the position of column guides. You have question? Go to view, grids and guides. Oh, it should be go back to yeah, yours you can select it right now because you're fine right now. Okay. Did you move yours? So you can move the column gas. Now those are the two ways you can create a column gas. Again, column gas, you can move the position of the column gas. And the third way of creating column is that when you have a text frame, you click the text tool, tab tool, and create a text frame. And then you can press Command B, which is the text frame options. And then you can change the column here. Let's say we have 1. Let's put 2 here. And then you can see that in the text, if you select the text frame, you can see that the text frame right now has 2 columns. So that's another way to create a columns. But that's a column within the text frame. That's actually not really the column. It's actually you divided the text frame into 2 columns here. The columns within the text frame, you can't change the position. There's no way for you to change the position within of the column within the text frame. But this is the third way you can create a column. Again, those 3 ways of creating columns are very useful when you create a newsletter. Newsletter is part of the content that we want to cover this week. Actually, if you look at the textbook, there are 2 exercises for people to do if you want to know how to create a newsletter. And also on Blackboard, I posted a lecture on how to create a newsletter over there. So you need to go to there to take a look, because one of the we're not going to really create a newsletter in this class. You're going to create a brochure, a flyer, and a logo. But how to create a newsletter is very important for no matter you're a PR major or you are advertising agent, because you know one of the major things for PR people is you need to know how to create a newsletter. Newsletter is very common within any organization. And normally is distributed monthly or even weekly. And who is creating those newsletters? PR professionals. So it's a fundamental skill for you to know if you say I'm majoring in PR. When you create a newsletter, you need to know how to use those columns. We're not going to do the 2 exercises of how to create a newsletter here, but I do encourage you guys to try to explore the project when you have time. One thing that I want to mention here is that in the project, it tells you how to create a bullet point. How do you do it? You simply press Option and 8. I think you can also find the bullet point by selecting from glyphs. But this is the one way to do it. If you make it larger, you can see if you press Option 8, you create a bullet point. Actually, Option plus other keys can create a lot of interesting stuff. If you press Option and the exclamation mark, it will create something like this. If you press Option 2, it will create something like this. If you press Option 3, it will create all kinds of interesting stuff. You can explore when you have time. Now I want to fill this text frame with some placeholder text. Do you still remember how to do it? Put your cursor within the text frame, press Ctrl, call out the context menu, and fill with placeholder text. That way you have a lot of text to work with. We can change the screen view percentage into 100%. In InDesign, there's also a tool called a baseline. How do we see the baseline? You go to InDesign Preference, go to Grades. You will see here are the default setting for baseline grades. Color is light blue. Start from 3 points, I guess, and then the distance is every 12 points, and you click OK. Go to View, Grades, and Guides. Here, click Show Baseline Grades. Now you see those blue lines; those are grades.
How did you get the first one? Like where you said preference?
You go to InDesign Preferences, and then Grades, and then you simply find the baseline grades and click OK. Here is the baseline grades. Baseline grades, you click OK. And then you go to View, Grades, and Guides, and then make it Show Baseline Grades. Right now it's short. So if you show baseline grades, you will see the baseline grades. If your screen is at 50%, if your screen is zoomed in with 50%, you will not be able to see it. You need to make sure that your screen is at least 100% so that you can see the baseline grades. Now look at those letters. They are not really aligned with baseline, right? They're in the middle of baseline somewhere. So select the text and look at this icon. This icon is called Align to Baseline. Align to Baseline grades. If you hit it, you will see that right now all the letters will be aligned along the baseline. Do you see the difference here? So that way you can make your text more aligned up. And sometimes you don't need to align every line, because if you align every line, there will be space between those two, and you can just go to here, choose only align the first line. That will be also okay. Only the first line of each paragraph will be aligned along the baseline, and that's a technique to make your text look beautiful when you create a newsletter.
Would you say the last thing?
You can go to only align the first line. Yes. Only align the first line. This is a very important technique to make your text aligned up and look beautiful. That's easy. No, it's here. That menu is very important. You need to select it. Select it. And then what do you want? Oh, exactly. Do you use this when you work on newspaper? Did you use the last? Okay, press here. Yes. Who want to go first? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now sometimes you need to create a page, and you want to equally divide the page into, let's say, 6 blocks or 9 blocks or 12 blocks. Like when you create a newsletter like this one, which is in page 159 of the textbook. If you are creating a document with a layout like this, the best thing for you to do first is to divide the page equally into 9 blocks. And you need guidelines or grids in that case. How do we create a guideline equally divide the document into non-equal blocks? You can go to, let me see, layout, create grids. Let's move it to here. Check preview so that whatever you do here, you can preview it here in the document. And now let's say we're going to have a grid of 3 columns, 3 rows, sorry, and then 3 columns. And you can see that right now it's equally divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks. And you can fit the guides to margins or to page. Normally we fit it into margins, but if it's a bullet design, you may want to fit it to the pages. Hit OK. That way you will have different create a guide that can help you to divide the document into non-equal blocks. Okay, now let's talk about how to align the objects into a document. I want to let me remove all the grids so that we can see the document clearly. Or let's create another page. Okay, click check the page panel. If you do not see your page panel, go to Window and then click Page. You will see the page panel. And then let's once you are on the page panel, click here, create a new page, click it, and then you will see we have another page. I thought I unchecked the facing page, but it's still here. Okay, I don't know why. But anyway, you have 2 pages, and then let's work on this page because we have too many stuff on the first page already.
How do you take the grid off? Yeah.
How do you take what?
Our second page was the grid on the baseline.
You have a baseline over there. Then you just go to View, Grids and Guides, and then take off the baselines. Okay, now let's talk about the paste into. I've mentioned that paste into is a very interesting skill that you can use. Paste into, let's first of all create a star. Again, you can click here, choose the polygon tool, and then click here, okay? Click here, and then let this as default, and then choose the number of sets as 5, put star inset as 50%, hit OK. You have a star here, give it a color, let's say we give it a red color, and then you have a red star here, and then I think it's a beautiful star. Normally we think that's the symbol of Texas, right? Okay, now you can create another, let's say we can create a circle. Let's give the circle a color also. You can give it a yellow color, green color. Let's give it a green color. And then what paste into does is that you select the star and press Command and C, which is copy. Okay, select the star, press Command and C, and then you go back to the circle. Go back, select the circle. Go to Edit, paste into, or if you want, you can use a shortcut key, which is Option Command V. I think that's Option Command V. And now you see that the star is actually pasted into the ball. This is pasted into. Once you paste the star into the green circle, you can still work on the star. If you double click it, you are selecting the star. And then you can make the star larger. Or you can move the position of the star, make it to this position or make it to other position. And then when you unclick it, the star is a part of the ball, the circle. So that's called paste into. And as I said, it's a very useful technique. You can even paste into this thing into another shape. For example, you can create a rectangle. Let's create a rectangle. And create a rectangle. Let's give it a blue color. And then you can select the ball. Command C, which again is copied. And then select the rectangle. Go to paste into. That way, you paste the ball into the rectangle. I mean, the green color doesn't goes well with the blue color, right? So I want to change the color. Maybe we can change it into, let's say, yellow. Huh? That sounds great. So I have three things right now. I have a star and this ball and this thing right now. Okay. Let's say I want to use this star. I have a star here. Let's say I want to use this star to create a grid. Like I have one article here, one article here. I want to use this star as a grid or as a guideline to divide those two parts of the document. And how do I do? You can make the star smaller so that it looks like a part of the grid. And then press Command Option U. This is a command called Step and Repeat. And then let's say you can choose how many more stars you want to create. Right now we are selecting one. Let's say you want to create 5 more stars like this. You can put 5 here. Check preview so that you can see it, okay? You can put 5 here. And here you can set the offset values. Let's see, we're going to put 1p here. And here you can see you're going to create 5 stars. And each star will has a distance as 1p between them. If you create this as 2p, create this value, the distance between the star will be enlarged. And if you change this value, the horizontal distance will be changed. See? And if you hit OK, you will have 6 stars like that. The value you choose it, but it should be within the document. Make sure they are within the document. Okay. Now I want to use a little bit of time to show you how to use the alignment tool to align the document. Let's say we're going to align those the stars within the document. You select them all, and then go to Window. Find the let me see where it is.
Mine's not like
Or I just use my cursor to create a rectangle to cover everything.
okay.
Yeah, and then you can go to window. Let's see where is the it should be object and layout. You go to object and layout. You will see align panel. Here's the align panel. Let's put it here. Align. Let me move this thing a little bit. Okay.
Is that object layout?
Yes. Object and layout, and then you will find align.
You go to window and then object and layout. Go to window.
Yeah, if you do not see it, go to window.
Go to window and
Yeah.
then go to object and layout.
Make sure that all objects are selected, and then if you click this one, they will align to left edge. And now align. You see, this is the original this situation. And you click here, it will align to left edge. Okay. Now go back to the original position. Here is the choice is align to selection. If I choose align to margins and then hit this thing again, everything will go to here. Do you understand why? Because align to selection and align to margin are different things, right? Okay, let me show you again. If you choose align to selection and you hit left alignment, it will align to the to here. Only align to the selections. But if you choose align to margins and then you hit the left alignment, it will go to align to the document margins. There's another way you can choose. You can choose align to page. In that case, if you hit it, it will go to the align with the page. So you have different choice here where you want to be aligned. Align to selection again. If you choose align to the central, it will look like this. Align to the right. Now here's align to the top, middle, bottom. You can also distribute the objects. And if you choose distribute, you can distribute objects or distribute space. Let's see how we can work with distribute objects. Let's click this one. You give it a value of 1p here, and then hit distribute. And if you give it 2p, or 3p, or 4p. So that's a top distribute. This is the middle distribute, or bottom distribute. There's no change basically. And this is the left distribute, middle distribute, and right distribute. Distributed objects and distributed space are slightly different. For example, if we choose here, we give it a 4p. And if you hit this vertical distribute, it will give you a more distances between the objects. Okay, now I would like you to work on your project. Try to align your document to the right document edge. I know some of you work on it. You put it on the left. So try to align the stars along the right document edge. So I choose align to margins and then get everything on the top first, and then okay, give it 5p. $7p. $8p. Looks good. So alignment is a very useful function. once you put the star in the right position and you don't want people to move it accidentally, you can select all the stars and then hit Command G, make the stars a group. That way, even people move it, it will move everything because the 5 stars will be make into one thing in that case. Okay, now let's talk about the last thing. Before we move to the last thing, I want to call your attention to one thing. Now, all the objects here, they are same as the photos, okay? They're same as the photos. So when you select the objects or the photos, you see you can have some tools here to play with them. If you click this one, it will rotate the photo, rotate again, rotate again. If you click this one, it will rotate it in the other direction. Question, right?
Yeah,
Hold on a little bit.
The stars, how do I align them like you did? I'm confused on the right side of the page.
Yeah, hold on a little bit. And if you click this one, it will align flip like this. If you click this one, it will flip like that. So I'm going to move this thing here, move this thing here. Right now we have 3 things on a pile. We're going to talk about how to work on the things on a pile. Let me look at a question. Okay, you select everything first, and you didn't have your panel ready yet. It should be object layout, align, and then let's choose align to a margins. So you want to move it to this set first, get everything here, get them to top, and then distribute. So I use
Basically, I have
distribute some space. It is too large. Click that in. Look at it.
yeah, that makes the stars one of those things. I don't
Make it small.
it's right from the
That's not what we want to do. We want to move that. Sounds good. And then hit Command G, make everything into one object. Right now it's okay. Now if you have 3 things in a pile like this, when you have 3 things in a pile, let's say you have right now we have the rectangle and we have the ball and we have the stars. I want to bring the stars to the front. You simply select the stars and go to Object, Arrange, Bring to the front. So stars are now in the front. Or you can send the stars in a second. With Arrange, you can send it backward or send it back. So that's one command that you want to know. You can also use the shortcut keys. Basically, is command in the bracket. So you can use that.
Command bracket.
Mhm.
Is it command bracket?
Yes, the command bracket. Not the bracket on the number pad. The bracket on the second line of the keyboard. That bracket. And you can also select the first object on a pile, press Command and click it. Every time you click it, you will select the next thing in the pile. So that's a technique that when you work on things in a pile. Okay, that's everything we covered today. Any question do you have so far? Um, if now, I'm going to uh, let's talk about the project this week. The project of this week will be the project on page 177. It will be the Muskie and the Wally fishing gap trips. That project will help you to practice tabs and tables, distribute objects, and other things that we've learned in chapter 4, chapter 5, and chapter 6. So to do that one, special requirement of this project is that please change the color of headline and subheadline. I know this is already a beautiful color, right? But I want you to find a better color, change it, and when you post your project onto Blackboard, give us one paragraph. Tell me why you choose that color, why you think that color is even beautiful. Okay? So one paragraph comment. Again, this is a chapter project. A chapter project should be posted on Blackboard as well as CourseBlog. If you do not post it on CourseBlog, there will be a 5-point deduction. And what we discussed, what we did just now is an in-class project. In-class project, just email to me. Email to my Lamar email account. Not the Blackboard email account, but Lamar email account. Thank you.